early on, and I learned this from my dad, and being a second generation pastor is so helpful. It's so helpful. This is how we should live our lives. I don't have any people. I don't have any things. It's to the moment that we begin doing this with the people who work for us, with our assets, with our organizations, immediately our capacity shrinks. It shrinks. So to remain open-handed when it comes to people is not only necessary, it may be the key to developing great leaders. So I see our entire organization as a leadership in terms of internal, a leadership development organization. I want to raise up and train good leaders. I want them to know everything I have to say. I want to empty my cup. I can't fill theirs. Here's all I know about that. And then when somebody like a Jeff Henderson, who just left our organization to do bigger and better things, when Reggie Joyner left our organization to go do Rethink and all the amazing things he does, and other people who aren't well known but have gone on to start organizations and do amazing things. To me, I never, ever see that as a loss. That is a win because they weren't mine. We don't have people. I don't have people. Everybody's a volunteer, even if you get a paycheck, right? Because you can go work somewhere else. So as long as I can lead and try to model for our leaders, hey, we are open-handed. An example, I forget how many years ago now, 12 maybe. Louis Giglio, we've known each other since the 6th grade, okay? So we've been friends forever. We sat down to have lunch. He said, Andy, I want to start a church. I just wanted you to be the first to know. We're Compassion City Church. Started talking about that, talked about where he wanted to put it. It's less than 2 miles from Buckhead Church is where they ended up being. And so there was all this yickety yak about, Louis starting a church, he's going to take people, and are you going to go? And, and because unfortunately, because generally speaking, the posture of the church has been, these are my people and they go to my church and these are my staff. So as soon as they made it public, because he told me first, a couple of weeks later, I had a staff meeting and I got everybody in the room and I said, okay, all of you know, Louis started a church. We had hosted this giant Bible study at our church that he'd led, 722, thousands of people. I said, look, we're not going to whisper about this. This is how we live. I said, if you want to go there, you should go there. If you want to work there, I don't blame you. If you want to go to both churches, I said, this is how we've always led. This is how we're going to continue to lead. We are going to be their biggest fan, and we're going to raise money and help them be successful. This is how we live. This is how we lead. And I could feel the tension leave the room because the assumption was, oh no. And I'm like, oh, no. That's not, what about Buckhead? I'm like, no. As soon as you start this, then you are in defense mode and you are in control mode. And I think in some ways you're almost sidelined in terms of what God can and will do through you. So loyalty is not one of our values. Loyalty didn't even make it as a fruit of the Spirit. Just think about that for a minute. That is how unimportant loyalty is. I don't want people to be loyal to me. I don't want them to be loyal to us. I want them to do a great job of what we've hired them to do. And when they have a better opportunity, we will cheer them on. Joel Thomas, who used to work for us, he was actually the pastor at North Point Community Church, comes to me and says, I think God might want me to go to this church in Phoenix. I'm like, you know what? In fact, he said, Andy, you were so encouraging. It made me wonder if you were actually trying to get rid of me. I'm like, no, and trying to get rid of you. I just sensed this is what God was leading you to do. And it's just easier to live and lead this way.